There's a significant update in the story about ICE on the Central Oregon coast, how they're trying to get their grubby little fingers on Lincoln County, and how the folks in Newport are not having it. The story starts in late October of this year when Kristi Noem and DHS decided, with no warning and no explanation, to remove the Coast Guard helicopter from Newport. Now, keep in mind, Newport, Oregon, I used to live just outside of there in Siletz. Newport, Oregon is a rural area. It is about 10,000 people. The main forms of industry are fishing, tourism, logging, and there's also the Marine Hatfield Science Center where the EPA and NOAA exist, although Donald Trump and Elon Musk have gutted those offices. So this is primarily a fishing community. And when you take away the rescue helicopter, the Coast Guard rescue helicopter, you are imperiling the lives of fishermen. And so the community was like up in arms, outraged. And of course, they took Kristi Noem and DHS to court over it. Argument that was made in court was that the helicopter is necessary to prevent deaths, especially as we are on the cusp of the Dungeness crabbing season, which is particularly dangerous. So we heard on Monday of this week that the Judge Ann Aiken has ordered that the helicopter be returned to Newport. But it wasn't just that DHS yanked this Coast Guard helicopter in late October. In early November, Newport heard wind that a Texas-based company called Team Housing Solutions was looking to lease land in Lincoln County. Team Housing Solutions is a government contractor, and who do they contract with? DHS and ICE. They put in an offer on a 4-acre plot at the Newport airport, and immediately the Mayor Kaplan, and the city council, and activists, residents in the area were like, They were trying like real quiet to put in this contract and lease this 4-acre plot at the airport. And you might be like, why? Why are they doing that? Newport's kind of the middle of nowhere. It's 3 hours away from Portland. So there was this city council meeting and folks rallied and were like, we do not want ICE in Lincoln County. Absolutely not. So after that meeting, after a huge public backlash from residents of Lincoln County, Team Housing Solutions withdrew their offer. But what were they doing in the first place? Now you have to understand that Oregon is a sanctuary state. Portland is a sanctuary city. We have some of the strongest sanctuary laws in the country, and we do not have a long-term ICE detention facility in this state. The ICE building on Macadam Avenue in Portland is very small, and it is meant to be a processing center. It's where immigrants were supposed to come and like have their meetings with their attorneys and work through the immigration process. It is not a detention facility. In fact, all of these violations that have been issued against the facility for their land use permit are because they were keeping immigrants far longer than they were legally allowed. What happens when somebody is snatched here in Oregon is that they are most often sent up to the detention facility in Tacoma, but sometimes they're sent further north or elsewhere in the country. And it seems like they are looking to try and put a large detention facility in Lincoln County, Oregon. And again, the residents were like, no. And I do want to say thank you to everybody in Lincoln County. It is because of that swift mobilization that this Texas-based Team Housing Solutions withdrew their offer. But unfortunately, the update to the story is that it doesn't seem like they are done yet. It doesn't seem like they have decided to abandon this plan to get their grubby little paws on Lincoln County. Because we are hearing now that Team Housing Solutions has been calling hotels up and down the Central Oregon coast, I think as far south as Yachats, trying to book somewhere between 120 and 200 hotel rooms for a year. Please understand this is an economically depressed part of the state. That would be a tremendous boon if folks were willing to take those contracts, especially because we heard this past week that Rogue Ales in Newport, Oregon is going out of business, an important part of the economy down there. So in a video posted on Instagram on Tuesday, Mayor Jan Kaplan of Newport said the city had confirmed that the contractor Team Housing Solutions has called multiple hotels up and down the coast as recently as Tuesday morning, looking for as many as 200 hotel rooms for a year. Now, I had confirmation from activists who live in Newport, and I also saw multiple social media postings that none of these hotel rooms are taking the contract. I think it would be the kiss of death for any of them to take ICE contracts. Like, nobody would come stay at those hotels. They would be run out of town. It would be a really, really foolish move to take those ICE contracts. So we've not heard of any hotels who are said they're willing to do this, but it's clear that ICE is still trying. Team Housing Solutions is still trying. But again, why are they picking Newport, Oregon? So the speculation here from a Lincoln City immigration attorney, Katie Sinkins, is that they're focusing on Newport specifically because Newport has an airstrip. It is in the middle of nowhere. They want to be able to abduct immigrants from around Oregon and funnel them to a facility in Newport, Oregon, deny them due process, and then fly them out of there wherever they want, right? They're deporting people to countries where they don't speak the language, to countries that have human rights warnings, because the cruelty is the point, right? Destroying people's lives is the point of this ethnic cleansing that ICE and Donald Trump and Kristi Noem are conducting in the US. What ICE clearly wants to do, what we are hearing from elected officials down in Lincoln County, what we're hearing from immigration attorneys, is that they want to build a facility in Newport, Oregon, so that they can more easily deny immigrants due process, so that they can deport them without due process. They are willfully trying to skirt the law to deny people their rights because, again, the cruelty is the point. The illegality is the point. They're trying to see what they can get away with. They thought they would pick an economically depressed rural part of Oregon, and they would just slip in there and they would get to advance their awful, awful, cruel plan, and that nobody would pay attention, that nobody would notice, and nobody would care. And that is not what we're seeing. We're seeing that everybody in Lincoln County does care. They are paying attention, and they're not going to let ICE get their grubby little fingers on Newport. So again, thank you to everybody in Lincoln County. Thanks to all my friends down there. Thanks to everybody who is willing to organize. Thanks to everybody who is on top of this. We have to maintain our vigilance. Because here's the thing, y'all, it's not one and done with a would-be tyrant, with an autocrat. They are going to push, and they wait to see if you push back. If you push back, they're going to push harder. If you stop them from doing one terrible thing, they're going to try and do something even more terrible. They are trying to see where the line is, where you lay down and give up. And folks in Newport, Oregon, they're not giving up. As the regime becomes increasingly desperate, they are going to become more extreme. They're going to try bigger things. They're going to try and inflict more and more suffering. They're going to try and deny more and more rights. It is more important than ever that we remain vigilant, that we stay on top of things, that we stay 2 steps ahead of them, that we have our eye on what they're doing, and we don't let them get away with anything. We all should be following the example of the folks in Newport, Oregon. We fight for our rights. They fought to get their helicopter back to protect the lives of fishermen there. Likewise, they are fighting to protect the lives and the liberty of immigrants in Oregon. It is not so much what the regime tries to do, it is how we choose to respond. And we're clearly seeing the folks in Lincoln County, Oregon, are paying attention. They're staying on top of this. They're not going to let ICE get a presence there. So thank you, Lincoln County. Keep it up, y'all.